Welcome everyone, this is On Just Restart. So for this video, we are going to be posing the question, is Nintendo holding back their 2020 games? And when I say holding back, I don't mean like they're holding them back to not come out this year. I mean like they're sort of waiting for the right opportune time to reveal them, and I'm wondering if they're trying to be skillful about when they actually reveal them so they can maximize the amount of spotlight and attention they get for these particular games, and thus compete better with both Sony and Microsoft, which I think is especially important considering that the next generation systems are coming out this year. Now before we jump into things, I want to quickly talk about my social media. There's a Twitter page, a Discord community, a Patreon page, and a Twitch channel. If you are interested in any of that, please check it all out. It is linked in the description below. Now firstly, I want to talk about how Nintendo is definitely competing with both Sony and Microsoft, despite how they've said in the past how they don't try to directly compete with them. They may not be trying to have the exact same strategy as Sony and Microsoft and have the most powerful system ever and have it be a big media device. That may not be their goal, but they still make games. A lot of those games are multi-platform games, meaning they're on the different systems, and they are competing for the dollar. If someone spends money on a PS5 or an Xbox Series X this year, they may not spend it on Switch games. So Nintendo is competing here to have the spotlight and the attention so they can have sales. There is competition here. And on that note, I want to point out how I found it kind of interesting how when we got the PS5 Unreal Engine 5 reveal, a day later, we got the first trailer for Paper Mario the Origami King. The tech demo was revealed on May 13th, and the Paper Mario trailer came out on May 14th. But then fast forward to even more recently, how we got the big PS5 reveal event, that happened on June 11th, and then a day later, guess what happened? Nintendo had an extended trailer for Paper Mario, and they were showing off the actual battle engine, which is where a lot of the discussion is going on with Paper Mario the Origami King. While that second trailer maybe didn't garner as much attention as the first one, it didn't really compete as well with the big PS5 event, they still had something. It does seem like Nintendo is holding off their announcements for the right opportune time to talk about them, to maintain the spotlight and keep some of the attention despite the next generation systems coming out this year. So if that's the case, what does that mean for the rest of the year? We haven't gotten many announcements for 2020. A lot of people are speculating that there just won't be too many games coming out this year from Nintendo. And I feel like that would be kind of weird because look at Sony, look at Microsoft, they are having all sorts of announcements this year. There's a lot of talk about both these companies and everything they're doing with their next generation systems. It would be weird for Nintendo to just sit there and be quiet and do nothing. If their final big game of the year is Paper Mario, that would, well, I just don't think that's going to happen. This game is coming out in July. Now, I will concede that at first I was a little worried because we had rumors for Paper Mario and we didn't know quite when it was coming out. If we had gone like a Nintendo Direct and they announced that Paper Mario was coming out in November and we didn't really know much else beyond that, then I'd be a little worried because then at that point it would seem like the Paper Mario game would be Nintendo's big holiday game and they would really not have much else for the year. But I just don't think that's what's going on. Paper Mario is coming out in July. What about the rest of the year? I do think Nintendo has a lot of plans. Historically speaking, Nintendo publishes 20 to 30 games every year. I don't think this year is going to be that different. Maybe it's a little bit more on the lower end, but it's still going to be a decent amount of games. More games will be coming out this year. Nintendo is simply sort of being careful about how they're revealing their games this year. It does not appear that we are going to be getting these announcements in a Nintendo Direct. The most recent reports from VentureBeat have been saying that Nintendo simply couldn't have the Direct around the E3 time because they couldn't gather all their third-party partners and organize all of the different potential announcements. So Nintendo has been sort of telling the third-party partners to just announce the games when they are ready, and it sort of makes sense considering the whole transition to remote development for a lot of developers. That is going to create some delays. But those delays are not going to be significant. We're not talking about 6 months here. It's going to be far less than that. Maybe a couple months, sure, but nothing too dramatic. I think for the big games that were already had been in development for years, those games likely will still come out this year if they were planned for this year. The overall point I'm trying to make right now is that while there may not have been a lot of announcements, it's not because there aren't announcements to be made, it's because of the circumstances and the way things need to be organized. Those announcements are still coming, just perhaps not in the way we initially expected. There was no E3 event or anything too cool revealed last week, but I haven't really thought there was going to be anything like that for a while now. Ever since E3 was officially canceled for this year, my perspective has been that Nintendo probably wouldn't have a Direct around this time. They would wait a little bit later, because they wouldn't be held to that time frame where they would have to have some sort of event and games there. So since Nintendo wasn't forced into a deadline because of E3, they're going to take their time and reveal their games when they want to. But also because of the pandemic and the whole transition to remote development, it's really hard to organize all their different partners and put everything together for one singular presentation. So instead it seems, as some reports have suggested and also from what we've seen of the Paper Mario Origami King trailer, Nintendo's going to have trailer drops during opportune times to garner the most attention possible and compete against the next generation systems. The Paper Mario trailer is just the beginning. I think there is more to come. There are the rumors of the 2D Metroid and the Mario Remasters and Pikmin 3 Deluxe and 3D World. Those games could all be coming out this year, and that would definitely be really nice. Last week I talked about how Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition sort of changed the standard for what we should sort of expect from Nintendo when it comes to remastered or enhanced re-releases for their content. What if the Mario Remasters or Prime Trilogy are going to be getting a Definitive Edition as well? That might be possible, and that would be really good. If the games were to get that kind of enhancement, that would be quite a nice enhancement, and I think that would be very exciting, perhaps to the point where I may scream in excitement during the big reveals for these games. I think there's still a lot of room for excitement for potential announcements for 2020. This year is not going to be all doom and gloom. There are still some cool things to come. And also not too long ago, we've already had some discussion on what could potentially be the big holiday game. I've talked about the potential for Bayonetta 3, or Breath of the Wild 2, or some other big game that we don't know about. These games have been in development for quite some time, and they could maybe come out this year. I think that is a possibility, especially considering that Nintendo wants to compete with the next generation systems. They don't want these systems to take all the attention and for them to not have very good sales during the holidays. They're gonna have something. It may not be what we've talked about in this video, but there will be something. There will be some cool reveals to come out this year, and this silence from Nintendo, in my opinion, is more of a calm before the storm, not so much a lack of games. Games are still gonna happen. Nintendo is simply holding back their announcements for the right time. That's what I think. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this year is going to be all doom and gloom. Maybe there aren't too many cool reveals. Or maybe there still will be, and it won't be trailer drops like the Origami King trailer. Maybe there will be a big Nintendo Direct. We'll just have to wait a little bit longer. Or maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Maybe throughout this summer, we'll get some trailer reveals for, say, for example, the Mario Remasters and 2D Metroid and Pikmin 3 Deluxe. But then later into the year, say around late August or September, we get a bigger direct that sort of tells us the rest of the holidays, and maybe that includes something like Bayonetta 3 or No More Heroes 3 or Breath of the Wild 2 or something else we don't know about, maybe a new Star Fox game or a new F-Zero game or a Donkey Kong game. There are a great deal of possibilities. We don't know how the year is going to shake out, but I think there's still a fair bit of hope for some very promising games to come out this year on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo isn't just going to be quiet for the rest of the year. Cool stuff will happen. It's on the way, just really a matter of when. But anyways, everyone, those are my thoughts on the matter. What do you guys think? Do you guys think there are some really cool announcements coming really soon and Nintendo's simply been holding them back for the right time? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But that's all for now, everyone. I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.